Matt Taibbi is leaving Twitter after the platform blocked Substack links. He said the decision will come with a price as far as any future Twitter files are concerned. Okay. Okay, let's watch this.
The world's most powerful investment bank is a great vampire squid wrapped around the face of humanity, relentlessly jamming its blood funnel into anything that smells like money. That was how, in 2009, Rolling Stone journalist Matt Taibbi famously began The Great American Bubble Machine, his 10,000-word expose on Goldman Sachs and its considerable economic influence at the height of the Great Recession. The vampire squid was an indelible image, and it was textbook Matt Taibbi. If you were like me back then, you loved reading his blistering takedowns of America's worst villains. In 15 years at Rolling Stone and in occasional NBC and MSNBC appearances, Taibbi won lots of fans and awards for skewering anyone who shafted the little guy from K Street to Wall Street. But if you listen to him these days, he's telling a different story.
I spent 10 years covering the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis. That was obviously a very serious issue, but this Twitter file story and what we're looking at now and what we're investigating now, I don't think there's any comparison. This is by far the most serious thing that I've ever looked at, and it's certainly the most grave story that I've ever worked on personally.
Yes, the Twitter files, quote unquote, 19 releases of select internal Twitter documents provided to Taibbi and other reporters and activists after the social media site was acquired by tech billionaire Elon Musk, remember him? Which made seemingly explosive claims about the politicized blocking of the Hunter Biden story, as well as allegations that Twitter shadow banned conservative accounts without cause. According to Musk and Taibbi and his reporting colleagues and the Republican House majority, those files show Twitter colluding behind the scenes with feds, NGOs, and yes, Democrats to silence critics. A new woke McCarthyism through digital censorship.
Uh-oh.
Democrats used to care about protecting First Amendment free speech rights, too. Now it's like, okay, if you're attacking, and I said this on the House floor, I said, don't think they won't come for you. Oh, the big tech, big media, cancel culture, they may come for Republicans and conservatives now, but the mob is never satisfied. They will keep coming.
Soy nod.
But critics say the Twitter files...
I need people to understand that soy is a very conservative emotion these days, okay? That was a conservative soy nod right there. Conservative virtue signal, conservative soy nod.
Don't come close to making that case, and that they also are a product of questionable journalistic ethics gifted to Taibbi and others by a billionaire with access and a right-wing political agenda, and then rapidly weaponized by
It looks so funny. I want
conservative media with little regard for the facts.
The Republicans have brought in 2 of Elon Musk's public scribes to release cherry-picked, out-of-context emails and screenshots designed to promote his chosen narrative, Elon Musk's chosen narrative, that is now being parroted by the Republicans because the Republicans think that these witnesses will tell a story that's going to help them out politically.
Is the Twitter file story as big, as damning, as revealing as its proponents claim? That's what we are going to debate today. Because in some ways, Matt Taibbi has become the man of the moment, with nearly 2 million Twitter followers, tens of thousands of paid subscribers to his Substack blog, and Republican lawmakers hanging on his every word. The man who used to gleefully heap abuse on the outrage industrial complex on Fox now appears regularly on that very propaganda network he once so wonderfully lampooned.
I like that combo of emotes, personally.
And that video you saw earlier of Taibbi testifying in last month's Republican-led hearing on the weaponization of the federal government, he says that on that day, the IRS visited his New Jersey home to tell him 2 years of tax returns had been rejected. We reached out to the IRS, but they say they can't comment on individual cases. So, late last month, Matt Taibbi asked me on Twitter, where else, to invite him on the show to debate the Twitter files and free speech and Elon Musk. Now, I've mocked him in the past for doing PR work for the world's richest man, and he's accused me of being an ardent establishment moralist. Great line. But today, I hope we're going to avoid the name calling and keep it civil as I put my questions to him. Matt Taibbi, a National Magazine award-winning journalist who runs the Racket News Substack and broke the so-called Twitter files story, joins me now. Matt, thanks so much for coming on the show. Why do you believe these Twitter files are so important, and what should our viewers know about what's in them that they don't know? Just briefly, your top lines.
First of all, I never said anything about woke McCarthyism, so do you want to take that back?
I didn't put that in quotes. I said a so-called woke McCarthyism. Jim Jordan has also talked about that, and that was a line into Jim Jordan. But happy to say that you haven't described it as McCarthyism. You've described it, I think, as a digital censorship complex. Industrial.
I said digital McCarthyism, not woke McCarthyism.
Okay, digial McCarthyism. We can correct that. Yes.
Okay, good. So you started off as I expected with the whole "what happened to you, man" routine. Well done. So yeah, these are, I think the rest of the stories speak for themselves. I don't have to talk about how important or not they are. The audiences are interested in them because of what they show. That there was an organized, systematic structure in place for the FBI and the DHS to talk not just to Twitter and to forward thousands of moderation requests to companies like Twitter, but also to virtually every other social media platform. This is essentially an organized system of quasi-state censorship, and it's alarming. It's a lot more than what we thought was going to be there. And again, people are just looking at what we found. We don't have to make claims about it. They're upset about it because of what they're reading.
Well, not everyone's upset, and you do make claims, so let's talk about that today. And Matt, we're going to disagree a lot today. You've already started with disagreement, so let's start with some agreement. Should the FBI be wasting so much time and taxpayers' money flagging so many tweets to Twitter? In my view, no. Does the FBI have far too cozy a relationship with social media companies? Yes, I agree. But do your files provide evidence of government censorship? I don't think so. Let's just take the very first example you cited in the very first thread, which went mad viral. You wrote, by 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team. The reply would come back, handled. Now, that sounds bad, but aside from the fact that the Biden team was not the government at the time, it turns out that at least 3, maybe 4 of those 5 tweet URLs that you linked to, that they link back to non-consensual nude images of Hunter Biden. Why was it wrong, Matt, for the Biden campaign, not the government at the time, to ask Twitter to enforce its own terms of service against people basically posting revenge porn? Do you understand why people question your credibility on this whole project when you omit such crucial context right from the get-go?
First of all,
it's funny when I heard this Twitter file stuff come up about there was hacked material and it was Hunter Biden's cock, and the way Mehdi has phrased it is like very different.
The reason that's important is because the ordinary person can't just call up Twitter and have something taken off Twitter. If you put something nasty about me on Twitter, I can't just call up Twitter and talk to the government liaison, whose name I won't mention on the air, and say, hey, can you take care of this? And have them take care of that. That doesn't work for the ordinary person. The Biden campaign could do it. Donald Trump could do it. But I can't do it. Can you do it? I don't think so.
You didn't answer my question. Why didn't you tell us what were in the URLs? Because it sounds much worse than it is. When you discover that actually it was simply a violation of Twitter's terms of service, that these were nude, non-consensual images for Hunter Biden, why not mention that? Did you not know? In which case, that's kind of incompetent. Or did you know and you were just hiding it from people?
Incompetent?
I mean, if you didn't know, if you put up
MSNBC. My God, you got 6 consecutive years of just screw-ups on the Russia story.
Well, that was predictable. If we're going to do predictable. Can you answer the question? Did you know what was in the URLs when you posted them? It's a simple question.
What was in the URLs?
Why didn't you tell us?
I don't need to.
Because it's relevant. You don't think it's relevant that it's a violation of Twitter's terms of service to have nude pictures of Hunter Biden up?
Look, every time they make a request to Twitter, they're doing what you're arguing. They're making the argument that, oh, we're not actually asking, this isn't censoring, this is just the government pointing out that
that's what the emails show that you posted. They don't demand anything, do they? They say, can you check if this is in line with your terms of service? And those URLs weren't. So I'm wondering why you wouldn't mention that.
First of all, the government, I can't even report that yet. All right. The when they're doing this, it's self-evident what they're doing, and I don't have to make claims about what it is. I can just show you what they're doing. Everybody knows.
You didn't, Matt. That's the problem. You didn't show the world that the Biden campaign asked for nude images.
God, he is so awkward. What the fuck? I can't even report that. Yeah, just like, oh, I'm sitting on some big information. Yeah, I'm sitting on some big shit. Fuck me.
You didn't. Other people pointed out what those URLs were. You never did. And that's the problem, Matt. There's a lot of omission.
There's a lot that I wrote. Am I going to describe every single thing that I published?
That was the first Twitter file and the most viral tweet. Noam Chomsky, who you know and I know and we like,
which is about a subject you guys screwed up.
Said one of the. We'll come back to that. Has said one of the greatest forms of censorship in the media is censorship by omission. You've heard that quote. There's a lot of omission in the Twitter files, a lot you and your colleagues don't tell us. You mentioned in passing, for example, in your very first thread that the Trump White House made requests of Twitter too, i.e. the actual government, not the Biden campaign. But you didn't tell us what those Trump requests were. It took an actual Twitter whistleblower. Well, it took an actual Twitter whistleblower in front of Congress to reveal that Trump once demanded Twitter take down a mean tweet about him from the model Chrissy Teigen. Yet you didn't mention that in any of your Twitter files posts.
Because I didn't have that story. I don't have it.
Doesn't that tell you something? That you had the Biden story and not the Trump story? That Elon Musk was giving you one side of the story?
No, you don't understand. First of all, that first batch of files resulted in the firing of Twitter's general counsel.
Oh yeah, the last interview we watched, there was lots of nodding, right? One person would talk and the camera would go to someone else and see them nodding. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
We were looking at something on a very...
Oh, so it was Elon Musk who linked the Twitter files, who leaked them, right? Who gave them to Taibbi or whoever and he didn't disclose that Trump had actually asked to have tweets removed because there was a celebrity making fun of him. And he explicitly asked to have them removed. Okay.
Short time frame, but we didn't have it. I went out of my way to report that fact. I was the first person who reported that Donald Trump made requests and had them honored on Twitter.
But you outlined which ones the Biden team did without giving full context, but you didn't outline which ones the Trump. Well, maybe you should ask yourself why it is you didn't have it. Let me ask you this. A lot of your own Twitter files reporting shows top Twitter employees
They don't have it either, by the way. The whistleblower in Congress didn't have it either.
I know, but she did say under oath that this actually...
Wait, did he have the story or did he not? I thought he said he didn't have that story, but then he was the one who said it? Okay. Wow. Matt.
Happened, so you can accuse her of what you want later.
I don't have to accuse them.
So it sounds like you are. Out of interest, Matt, the emails you show really difficult content moderation decisions. They don't show Twitter rolling over. They show people actually having really interesting discussions, unlike now where Elon Musk just dictates that NPR is state-affiliated and it happens overnight. They also show Twitter resisting requests to things that members of Congress have asked them to take down, members of the FBI. So I wonder, how do you call this a censorship industrial complex when Twitter, according to your own files, is saying no a lot of the time? I mean, if it was censorship, they'd have just rolled over every time Agent Chan of the FBI or Congressman Adam Schiff made a demand, but they didn't.
I published an explicit tweet which describes Twitter's internal ads policy, where they say publicly, we are going to represent that we make these decisions at our sole discretion. Internally, we are going to act when the U.S. intelligence agency, the U.S. intelligence community, that's the quote, when the U.S. intelligence community determines that an account is linked to a foreign malign threat actor. So they're talking about their two-phase system in the document. Now,
but your words, Matt, you say, to their credit, they turned down requests. You say it yourself. Those are your words in the Twitter files.
Yeah, they did, but this is a story that has multiple layers to it. The government is constantly applying pressure to these companies. It starts with a baseline of them not wanting to be engaged at all with the government, or to have a very limited relationship. The door gets kicked open when in 2017, particularly in the fall of 2017, when the Senate Intelligence Committee starts leaning on Twitter to endorse their accusations that there had been a substantial number of bots linked to Russia's Internet Research Agency. And essentially, it was made plain to Twitter that they would both be subject to lots of bad press and perhaps increased regulation if they didn't communicate with the Senate Intelligence Committee in the way that they wanted.
But communicating is not rolling over, Matt. All I'm saying is I don't see the evidence. If I saw evidence... They didn't. Adam Schiff says take down a tweet, and they don't, according to your own files.
What's Adam Schiff going to do? Is Adam Schiff the CIA? Is the CIA going to come to Twitter and say
so? Do you have evidence? So do you have evidence that the CIA demanded a tweet got taken down and they did it immediately? I haven't seen it.
Well, we think it's the CIA, quote unquote other government agencies. We know that the CIA was present.
You think it's the CIA? You began the interview saying you don't make claims; it's just evidence. Okay, let's talk about your evidence, Matt. Because
quote me directly if you're going to do this. Quote me directly.
What am I quoting? You just said this. We think it's the CIA. I said I haven't seen a single Twitter file.
I did.
He just seems like a really slow person, doesn't he? He just seems kind of like he seems quite dense. I don't know if he's just having a bad day. Like, wow.
The CIA tells Yoel Roth to take it down.
We showed reports that came through the Foreign Interference Task Force. We know it came through the FBI.
He's not a streamer. He hasn't streamed enough.
We know that's the destination by which it came, but the origin of the document we couldn't determine because, and there's lots of these. We have hundreds.
There are lots of these.
Twitter I don't know. Maybe I'm starting to warm up to him now. Who knows?
Deny that they take stuff down, right? Twitter put out a report in
Caroline, and you're going to let me answer the question because you're accusing me of getting this wrong. So these documents, I went out and I talked to every former intelligence person from every agency that I could to try to identify where these documents came from. And I ended up quoting, I think I quoted John Kiriakou and I think one other person is saying that looks about right. Because the people that I talked to thought that this was probably, a CIA document, that they thought that it looked like that. It could have been from some other agencies, but I did I put the document up and I said, this is what it looks like. This is what these people thought it was. I reported that other people talked about OGA. That's.
And I'm not, Matt. Just to be clear, I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing any of that. I'm saying there's no evidence that the government is ordering Twitter to take a bunch of stuff down, and Twitter's agreeing to everything. Twitter. Hold on. Let me finish. I let you finish. Let me finish. Twitter put out a report in 2021, as you know, which must shut down.
The real problem here, we got like someone sympathizing, I guess, a little bit. The real problem is, as you know, there's a variety of layers, and the interviewer is trying to catch Matt in something because he has an axe to grind. It seems like Matt tried to hyperbolize something that looked like Twitter was kind of just behaving as well as you could expect them to. And this idea that like Mehdi is like he's got a very bulldozer approach, yeah. And if you watch him debating someone that you like, you notice it, yeah. If you watch him debating someone you like, it looks like he's being very unfair and like he doesn't he interrupts a lot and he just like speaks over you. He may be a little bit bad faith, but for this, I think the Twitter files, it's just hard because like the Twitter files thing is just not like, I don't know if it was just a nothing that was turned into a big thing, like. And I think Matt Taibbi basically just took information from a partisan fuck that was curated by a partisan fuck and then just acted like he had something much bigger than he actually did.
Transparency, where they said the government asked us to take stuff down and we took down 40% of what we were asked to take down. They've never denied that they take stuff down. Yeah, I think it's serious. I think if you were right, it would be 100%. The fact that it's not 100%, the majority of stuff they turn down, doesn't tell me there's a censorship complex. I don't understand how
like this thing here, a censorship complex, when the material he was linking to was against TOS, when it was pictures of Hunter Biden's knob. Like you don't call it a censorship industrial complex when someone says, can you look at these tweets? They might be they're probably against TOS. And they're like, well, I don't know. And I think Twitter hesitates, don't they? They initially hesitate before taking it down. They review it, they realize what it is, and then they attack material and they take it down.
Do I think it's serious that they take down? 40% of stuff. Maybe, but that's not, nothing you showed suggests, in fact, the agent from the FBI sent emails saying, hey, do you mind taking this, do you mind looking at this and seeing if it's in line with your terms of service? That is not the police state that I think is being painted by Jim Jordan. By the way, you said about factual inaccuracies, Matt. Let's talk factual inaccuracies. Stanford, you talk a lot about the Election Integrity Project in the Twitter files, which Stanford and the University of Washington founded to monitor attacks on our elections. And you say some stuff about them that a lot of your critics say is not true, and that affects your credibility. You said the EIP was founded in response to the government dropping its proposal for a disinformation governance. Well, there you are. We're quoting you on screen. It wasn't. It was formed 2 years earlier. You suggest it was government funded, even though during the 2020 election that you're covering, it wasn't. You say they labeled 22 million tweets as misinformation in the run-up to the 2020 vote. They didn't. They flagged 3,000 election misinformation tweets for labeling, so you were only 21,997,000 off. And you also claim the EIP was... Let me finish the question. You can come back in. You also...
He's so prepared. Jesus Christ. I think Taibbi being linked to Elon Musk has really tarnished him. Musk was literally boasting to the far right about blowing the lid off Twitter and claiming normal TO as acceptable. I know, like, what a dog shit source. Like, fuck me. And you're like, and this guy is giving you the stuff that he's chosen to give to you. Fuck.
To claim the EIP was partnered with the government Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, CISA, to censor Twitter. But you mix up CISA, CISA, a Homeland Security Agency, with the Center for Internet Security, the CIS, which is a non-profit. In fact, you added an A to CIS. I think people can see it there in brackets to make that false claim. It's just error after error, Matt, on just this one topic.
Error. But the other ones aren't.
No.
22 million number came from their own report?
Yeah, where did it came from a report in March. Do you know what the 22 million number is, Matt? Can you tell me? Because we checked. 22 million is the number of tweets about election misinformation that they just mapped. How many tweets were they? The ones they actually flagged to Twitter before the election, 22 million came after the election. It wasn't in the run-up. They flagged 3,000. So you were off by 21,997,000. That's another error.
They've said a lot of things. I stand by my story.
You stand by what, Stu? You stand by 22 million were flagged.
Giga Chad. I stand by my story. Damn, I'm doing that one.
In the run-up to the election, even though that number came in March 2021, which was after the election.
No, this came in their report after the election.
Which was about some total of tweets that they counted on the election. What they flagged to Twitter was 2,980 tweets, I believe. So that's nowhere near 22 million.
Come on,
what? You got something wrong. You got CISA wrong. Why did you add A? Okay, Matt, why did you add A in square brackets? Do you understand why people worry about...
I actually thought that.
And why didn't you fix it? I just checked the tweet before I came on air. It's been 3 weeks since it was flagged to you. Why not fix it? Do you not have editors at the racket?
I didn't realize that until now.
Okay, and what about the date? You got the date wrong when it was founded. You said it was founded in response to the Disinformation Board. That was last year.
Well, because Stamos is saying in the video that we were sort of created to fill the gaps.
But no, that's not what you say in the tweet. That's not what you say in the tweet. You say
SIO was created in 2018.
No. You say, this is what you say, that the EIP was created after the public uproar paused the Disinformation Board. That's wrong. You need to correct that as well, don't you?
After the...
That's what your words. You say, to quote you, after public uproar paused the Orwellian Disinformation Governance Board, Stanford created the EIP. That's wrong.
Well, that's what they say.
You don't need sources, Matt. You could check the EIP website. It says it was created in 2020.
Oh.
Well, that's the date that I just said.
And the Disinformation Board was 2022. And the Disinformation Board was...
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, then that is an error.
Okay, so let's talk about Elon Musk. We talk about Twitter files. You have talked about why you don't want to reveal that he's your source, even though he's basically outed himself as his source. I get that you don't want to reveal your sources. You're a journalist, but Barry Weiss has outed him. He's outed himself. What's interesting about Elon Musk is that we checked. You've tweeted over 30 times about Musk since he announced he was going to buy Twitter last April, and not a word of criticism about him in any of those 30-plus tweets. Musk is a billionaire who's been found to have violated labor laws multiple times, including in the past few days. He's attacked labor unions, reportedly fired employees on a whim, slammed the idea of a wealth tax, told his millions of followers to vote Republican last year, and in response to a right-wing coup against Bolivian leftist president Evo Morales, he tweeted, "We'll coup whoever we want." And yet you've been silent on all of that. How did you go, Matt, from being the scourge of Wall Street, the man who called Goldman Sachs the vampire squid, to being unwilling to say anything critical at all about this right-wing reactionary anti-union billionaire?
Hello? Am I still on?
Yes, you're still on. I'm just wondering how come you've never criticized Musk despite all that?
Look, so I like Elon Musk. I met him. This is part of the calculation when you do one of these stories. Are they going to give you information that's going to make you look stupid? Do you think their motives are sincere about doing X or Y? I didn't. I thought. I mean, I did. I thought his motives were sincere about the Twitter files, and I admired them. I think he did a tremendous public service in opening the files up. But that doesn't mean I have to agree with him about everything. And
Agreed, I agree with you. But you never disagree with him. You've gone silent. People would say that's access journalism.
No, I haven't reported anything that limits my ability to talk about Elon Musk.
So will you criticize him today for banning journalists, for working with Modi government to shut down speech, for being anti-union? You can go for it. I'll give you as much time as you like. Would you like to criticize Musk now?
No, I don't particularly want to. Look, I didn't criticize him really before, and I think that what the Twitter files are is a step in the right direction.
But it's the same Twitter that he's running right now.
I disagree with him. If you want to ask, I think
understood, Matt. Well, I'll ask you a specific one.
No.
It's not in bad faith, Matt. Sorry. You say that Twitter... Hold on. Let me finish my question. You're saying that he's good for Twitter and good for speech. I'm saying he's using Twitter to help one of the most right-wing governments in the world censor speech. I will criticize that. Will you?
I have to look at the story first. I'm not looking at it now.
Hold on. I posted the story 2 weeks ago. You tweeted at me.
I don't watch the Mehdi Hasan show.
You do. Actually, you do, because you tweeted at me saying, invite me on the show and I'll tell you my views. Here you are. What is your view? There it is. There it is. Yeah, and you said, look, we'll read your word. Why don't you invite me on your show to talk about it, since you're so absolutely sure of what I'll say? You're right, I'm not sure. What is your view on Musk working with Modi to censor speech?
That's what you particulars about it. But listen, this came up the first time. I think it was Twitter Files number 6, when you said after this was a big one that we had done about the relationship between Twitter, the FBI, and the DHS. And as that story came out, you were giving me a hard time about tweeting through it, I think was the quote. Essentially, you said, you don't, so essentially, you're arguing that this information was not in the public interest, that I somehow shouldn't have done this story that I'd worked hard on because Elon Musk tweeted something? You don't think that story
No, I said
was
he banned journalists. I think hold on, Matt. If you're doing a story about free speech on Twitter and the head of Twitter bans journalists, yeah, I think most people... By the way, Barry Weiss, your partner in crime on that, your colleague, your reporter, sorry for that euphemism, your reporting colleague, she actually did call him out. So it's weird that Barry Weiss had more integrity on that, some might argue, your critics might say, than you did. Look, we're running out of time. You don't want to talk about India, that's fine. You can go away and research it, but you volunteered to come on the show to talk about it. I got to ask you about the clip on Joe Rogan. You've seen the clip. It was mentioned at Congress. I do want to get your response to it. Can we play the clip of you telling Joe Rogan about how you should deal with sources who give you information? Let's play that clip.
With any kind of journalist, like once you start getting, handed things, then you've lost. You know what I mean? They have you at that point, and you got to get out of that habit. It's like, or you can't cross that line.
So per your own words, Matt, you crossed that line and Musk has you. Those are your words.
The hilarity of this coming from MSNBC, which did nothing but vomit up fake Russiagate stories that came straight from the FBI for 6 consecutive years that you guys still haven't apologized for.
Great. I wasn't there in that period, so I've got nothing to apologize. I'm asking you your words. Did you cross a line? It's a very simple question. You can what about and deflect. It's a simple question. We played a clip for you. I'm giving you a chance to answer. Did you cross the line? Your words.
No, I did not. The stories are self-contained stories that hold up in themselves. And what I was talking about in the Joe Rogan story, I was quoting a passage from Seymour Hersh's book, Reporter, when he was talking about when he was given a story by the CIA about an Israeli spy that they had caught. And he was saying something to the effect of, I, who had always gotten the material, was being handed the material. So yeah, look, it sounds bad, but this stuff is clearly in the public interest. It's real, it's true, and I'm doing the best I can to report it. The question is, the test you always have with your sources is whether or not this stuff is in the public interest and whether it's accurate. And apparently I've gotten like one thing wrong or a few things wrong, but mostly I think these stories are going to hold up over the test of time, unlike your Russiagate story.
So let me ask you this, Matt, and you're going to say this is a bad faith question, but let me just be clear. I'm not questioning your work ethic. You keep saying, you seem to be offended. I'm sure you work very hard. I was a big fan of yours for many years. I've always admired your writing, which is why I have to ask this last question, which you're going to say in bad faith, but I promise it is. It's genuinely as a former fan. You tweeted in response to Jim Jordan, and you started the interview saying, oh, my journey. You have been on a journey for many of us. You said it was an honor. Thank you, Chairman Jim Jordan. It was an honor. A lot of people think that sounded a bit fawning to one of the most right-wing members of Congress. Later, you meet Ted Cruz.
I don't think it's an honor to be invited to Congress.
Who calls you a true patriot.
Jesus.
He calls you a true patriot, and you're all looking very intense in that picture. I wonder, when you met Ted Cruz, did you tell Ted Cruz that how you wrote in 2015 that he has, quote, big doses of Tea Party energy, and in 2018 that he's like an incurable skin condition? Do you understand why, Matt, those people who have read your stuff find it amazing now, the people you are?
Ted Cruz knows what I've written about him over the years. He knows that I talked about him as, I described him as having a face like a waterlogged Reagan mask sewn together at gunpoint. He knows all that stuff. But that's the point. This is America. We don't have to agree all the time. I don't have to like them these people all the time. They're on this issue. They're giving oxygen to something that I think is important, that I think a lot of people is important. And if he wants to meet me, that's fine. If Jim Jordan wants me to come talk in front of Congress, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to answer questions. If I'm wrong about something, I'm happy to answer that too. But
I guess where we disagree
is
is
that I'm committing some kind of a capital offense by testifying in Congress about my own reporting, answering questions factually, and meeting these people is ridiculous.
I guess where we disagree, Matt.
It is an honor to talk to Congress. It was an honor to talk to Congress, and I'm proud that I did that.
I mean, not every congressional committee is an honor to appear in front of. I'm pretty sure it wasn't an honor to be invited when people were invited to the House Un-American Activities Committee. I mean, this is the point, Matt. The context, we're out of time, sadly, but the context is that the Republicans, are banning books and threatening the press. Ron DeSantis is threatening to get rid of anonymous sources.
Again,
and you're
mentioning something that I didn't write about. How many things
I didn't say you wrote about it. Well, exactly. That's the problem, that you seem to think the Democrats, not the Republicans, are a big threat to speech, and I just don't see it. I wish we had more time to get into that, but we spent a lot of time.
Are you crazy? I mean, you don't think the Democrats are a threat to speech? Have you been paying attention to
Yes, I think all politicians are a threat to speech.
He has about 3 seconds to think of an example. Otherwise, he's just going to throw that out to beg the question to his audience. But
in this country, if you think the Republican Party is not the biggest threat to speech, then I don't know what to say to you. Maybe you should log off a bit and go to Florida. We have to disagree. We'll have to disagree on that. I think the black voter who was arrested in Florida, or the woman arrested for taking an abortion pill, might not say that Cat Turd 2 being de-amplified was the biggest story of the year. But we will have to leave it there, Matt. Thank you for appearing on the show.
What about your Hunter Biden story?
Appreciate your time. I don't think I've ever written about the Hunter Biden story, so maybe you should apologize to me for putting words in my mouth. You said at the beginning I put words. I never said a word about the Hunter Biden story, but we will be right back.
oh, God. What a shit show. What a bulldozing. Yeah, that was rough. God. So what did Elon Musk do with Taibbi recently? Did something happen? Twitter banned Substack links. Really? And Taibbi probably has his Substack as his main thing. Who knew there were mainstream debate bros? Elon has unfollowed Matt. Substack links are disabled. Oh no. Elon has unfollowed Matt. God, all the Matts are in today. Jesus. Pure ad hom interview with no purpose but to attack me personally to deflect attention from what we found. Reveals him to be the latest in a long line of security state attack dogs at MSNBC. Whose security state, oh God. His job is to obscure damaging truths. Okay. Oh God. I wonder how fucking brain rotten you have to be to think that this person was state censorship attack, state agent. God damn it.